Church in Ocean Park Choir. Woo! Start off in unison. 1, 2. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Sing it with us. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Sing again now. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Side 1. Peace, salam, shalom. 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 Sing again now. Peace, salam, shalom. 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 Welcome to the church in Ocean Park.
Good morning, and my name is Joseph Hepburn, and I'm all the way from the Southern Hemisphere, and I came to the United States looking for a Methodist church or a Baptist church or a Presbyterian church or even a Catholic church, and then I found a place of great fellowship. It was called the Church in Ocean Park. And it was found to be a place of great welcome and celebration. It's a place where we celebrate all the faiths. It is interfaith, multi-faith, and it engages in social action and outreach to the communities, both near and far. So welcome to the church in Ocean Park. I bid you welcome because whether you are millennial or Gen Z or a baby boomer or whatever you may be, or maybe you have reached an age where you are too mature even to be classified, you are welcome to the church in Ocean Park. If you have been late for your Hindu celebrations, this is today's Diwali, and I was born in a place where Diwali was celebrated. East Indian population, half of the population were East Indian, half were black. So I grew up with Diwali and all those things, so I came to the right place. We celebrate all things, and if you're too late to get to your Diwali celebration or to draw your Dongva drawings, you are welcome here to the church in Ocean Park. If you have just come from a celebration, if you feel that you are out of touch because you have not been to a church since your baptism, you are welcome here at the church in Ocean Park. If you are in grief, if you are downtrodden, if you are stressed out, and if you don't know where to turn or don't know have a place to go, you are welcome here at the church in Ocean Park. If you can't speak, if you can't talk, if you can't act, if you can't preach, you can have a place here at the church in Ocean Park. When I first came here, I decided, what type of church is that? And I asked my wife, where's the minister? And I could not see the minister because I was looking for someone who was in a collar and gong and stole and all this thing. And I was looking around. I said, Maureen, I can't find the minister. They don't have a minister. And I was ready to get up, to come up to the front and to start service. That's how I am at my own wedding. At my own wedding, and the preacher, the minister was late. And I said to my wife, well, it's 2 minutes to go and the man is not here. And I went up to the pulpit and decided to start my own wedding service. But here we have a great welcome. Everybody is equal. Everybody looks well and the same. And so we are happy to be here once more in this privileged place. I bid you welcome to the church in Ocean Park.
My name is Janet Gallery McKithen, and I am the minister that he was talking about. And I also welcome you to the church in Ocean Park. We begin with a land acknowledgement. We are sitting on land right now that was stolen from the Quiche and the Tongva and the Chumash peoples. We stole it violently, and it was stolen by means of genocide, and lives were taken and lives were destroyed. And we recognize that. We also recognize that we are sitting in a country that was built on the backs of people stolen from Africa, forced into bondage, and who worked for the benefit of what we benefit for now, which has never been repaid. So we think about all of that, and we acknowledge where we are and the benefits that we have. And in acknowledging that, we don't just say we're sorry, but we work to make the country and the world a more equitable place for all. We begin with a Chumash Thich Nhat Hanh chant. I have arrived, I am home, in here, and in the now 3 times. Please join me if you can. I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. I have arrived. I am in the and I have arrived. I am in the Now we're going to hear a reading from Dr. Kim Harris, and then 2 poets will come up. Jerry Rubin will be coming up. He's a Santa Monica resident, a peace and environmental activist who for more than 40 years has been organizing hundreds of public demonstrations, educational events, activist support gatherings, and numerous other progressive projects and endeavors. And then we will also hear from Andre Van Zigel, who is with us again as an artist, author, a poet. His fine art is on display in over 30 museums, including the South African National Gallery. He was born in Zimbabwe and is the co-founder and co-director of All Paths Divinity School. So Kim will come up, and then we'll have our 2 poets.
Today we are having many remembrances, celebrations, memorials. We're carrying much today, and that actually is one of the beauties of this congregation. And so this is actually a poem. We know there are many ways of serving, and the person who wrote this poem served in the war in Vietnam. His name is Yusef Komuyaka. The poem is called Thanks. Thanks for the tree between me and a sniper's bullet. I don't know what made the grass sway seconds before the Viet Cong raised his soundless rifle. Some voice always followed, telling me which foot to put down first. Thanks for deflecting the ricochet against the anarchy of dusk. I was back in San Francisco, wrapped up in a woman's wild colors, causing some dark bird's love call to be shattered by daylight when my hands reached up and pulled a branch away from my face. Thanks for the vague white flower that pointed to the gleaming metal, reflecting how it is to be broken like mist over the grass, as we played some deadly game for blind gods. What made me spot the monarch writhing on a single thread tied to a farmer's gate, holding the day together like an unfingered guitar string is beyond me. Maybe the hills grew weary and leaned a little the heat. Again, thanks for the dud hand grenade tossed at my feet outside Chulai. I am still falling through its silence. I don't know why the intrepid son touched the bayonet, but I know that something stood among those lost trees and moved only when I moved.
It's not quite a poem. It's not quite something else. So I'm not sure what it is, but I'm sharing it. It is 1963, Zimbabwe, then Rhodesia. I remember a pre-dawn morning when I drove with my father, the farmer turned priest, through the fresh, early mountain air. He was going to the little thatched granite chapel to offer a mass to any devout visiting this lonely holiday area in the Nyanga Mountains. The sky was broad and the vistas so sublime, I could no longer distinguish between the sacred chapel space and the wild, rocky, heather-covered peaks around us. I was dressed in the garb of the priest's assistant, a crinkly white medieval coating disguising the tiny and sinful human underneath. Yet the call of the African rocks, dwarf msasa trees, red, brilliant green, and purple, and the vast blue vault above us sang more truly of the sacred to me than all the incense waving and rote prayers. I could hear God through the wind, rock, and trees, but not so easily through my father. As a friend shared, the way we listen to each other is the way we listen to God. Explains a lot. Children tend to judge their parents so harshly, don't they? Learning to listen to a voice from within that does not speak directly, but whispers along the edges of awareness, just beyond peripheral vision, speaking obliquely in the wild, untamed tongue of the holy, takes dampening the voices of our human preoccupations, our obsessions, fixations, and quietening the noise in our heads. We do not die to get to heaven. If we do not experience heaven here, even in homeopathic quantities each day, while living in this body. What is the point of this whole enterprise? We might not have words for it when we hear the voice of silence. It's better if we don't. Feel into your body and allow it to rise as embodied knowing. Let the wild, free, raw, untamed holy find its unique voice and form through you. I had just been published in this book and was invited by a group of dissident poets to speak on the topic of resistance art. And these poets had been jailed and banned, some of them on Robben Island where Mandela was. So it was quite an honor to be chosen as a white artist to speak to Black resistance poets. So this is what happened. What is peace? I once got thrown off a stage for saying what peace was. The question I had been asked was, what is resistance art? My answer, living the opposite of what you resist. They didn't like that. They wanted justified rage and whatever justifiable madness it could lead to. Peace, unfortunately, is how you live your life each moment. Peace is listening to someone as if it were God speaking with you. Doesn't matter if they were talking about the price of eggs or the sunlight in your eyes. What matters is that you gave them the respect and undivided attention to hear them deeply. Because it is really God speaking to you, even if it's just about the price of eggs and the sunlight in your eyes. So I ask now, what is peace?
Thank you, Janet and the Church in Ocean Park for inviting me to read a peace poem today. I'd like to dedicate it to the Veterans for Peace, and they've been setting up grave markers just north of the pier for years and years and years. It's called Peace, a Poem for Our Veterans by Mason Lee, written November 11th, 2021. We see the words on veterans' graves, all powerful, all dark, nothing left, no heart. Winners or losers, don't care. Both in the dark, only left behind are their bodies, filled with peace, sadness, and bravery. Try remembering when he or she gave us peace, harmony. For that, we can thank them. But it's too late. Their hearts cannot be seen. Now we only can thank them by bringing peace to our world.
So we are having a couple more segments of poets. This is a segment of 3 wonderful poets. And so they have the long bios, all of them. And I'm just going to say a few words about each one, not very long. But you can look them up there. You can Google them and find more out. But the first one for this segment is Fred Whitlock. And Fred is a Church in Ocean Park member, a poet, and a former journalist. He's given readings in New England and Los Angeles over the years. He took over a past poetry reading series at the church and ran it for several years. Many of you have gone to that. And Tuesdays at 2 has poetry readings with Fred, usually on the second Tuesday of every month. So if you'd like to see him on Zoom, once a month, he's there. Welcome, Fred Whitlock.
No, that's okay. Dreaming of peace. All nations, religions, communities break apart attitudes, borders, and constraints. Have the courage to sacrifice. Start to believe in mutual coexistence. Let there be no more national borders, roadblocks, or walls between us. Start putting threads, no matter how thin, to form a fabric of thought that cultivates coming together and regroup and recognize on the benefits and beauty and traditions of each other. Dance to the rhythm of peace, as struggles, conflicts, turmoil dissolve in well thought out solutions. Mourning forward in dignity, moving with courage, peace seen as the most important steps to be taken towards human survival. No more bombs or missiles falling out of the sky. Let peace be back in the atmosphere and return it to its natural state. The world no longer a collective battlefield. No more hate, no more hardened stands or power plays. Let harmony seep in and refresh us. Let us change our vocabulary. Let peace be the language we speak. May peace become a solid object that everyone's delighted to touch and hold, and gracefully pass it around and share it with each other. Oh, this dream of peace, may it never be given up.
Our next poet is Elena Sikora, was born outside Wrocław, Transylvania, Romania, and graduated from the Webber Douglas Academy of Dramatic Art in London. She hosts an open mic on the third Friday of the month in the historical first building, the Rap Saloon in Santa Monica. Welcome back, Elena Sikora, our friend.
Hello, it's so nice to see everybody. Yes. Wave after wave. Wave after wave. War is not the answer. Wave after wave. We must believe in goodness. Wave after wave. Where are the childhood toys? Wave after wave. The world is a sanctuary if only we look at the sea. Wave after wave. Imagine peace, always. And this other poem is called Millennium. Remember the Millennium celebration. All around the world, people were apprehensive, fearing that something dreadful might happen. The first pictures came from Australia and New Zealand. Maoris dancing in the desert, singing their songs. We watched the rest of the world like a beautiful summertide, unveiling ancient treasures, fireworks illuminating Egypt's pyramids, Red Square, La Tour Eiffel, the London Eye, Times Square. How connected the whole planet felt. A village bonded by the same celebration. New Year's Eve, the millennium. I wish some of that feeling could have spilled into every day. Maybe there's still hope. Maybe at the top of the hour we would hear a new beginning, a fresh start for the whole world. Peace and joy reverberating throughout. New tidings of happiness for all. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you all. This is a beautiful day, beautiful, rich morning so far. Lee Beck, an integral part of Public Works Improvisational Theater Company since the 1970s. He is a California native, born, it says what year you're born. I don't think I need to say that. He has had a successful career as a fundamentalist evangelist, preacher. But he turned around, guys, he's okay. Radio host, actor, writer, producer, union organizer, husband, father, grandfather to many, and champion for the underserved and the wronged. Before moving to LA in the late 70s, he was a well-known performer and radio personality in Northern California, where he was known as Brother Lee Love of the Survival Revival Hour on KZAP FM radio in the late 60s. Welcome back, Lee.
It's wonderful to see everybody. We've been zooming away for so long, and here we all are. It's great. Oh, please do. I've been told I don't need a mic, but because of the Vietnam War, we had a peace movement. Remember that? Yeah, that was what we called it, the peace movement. We frequently marched in peace demonstrations. We gave each other the peace sign. Often when we met, we gave each other the peace sign. When we were about to leave, we'd give each other the peace sign. It was the custom of our era, or at least the era I grew up in. When leaving people, we'd say, peace out, and we'd be gone. One of our theme songs was John Lennon's song, Give Peace a Chance. All we are saying is give peace a chance. Give me a job, a woman, and a prefab house. Give me a pension I can gain. Let me have a couple of kids, a faithful dog, a real good wife, a family, and a job. I want to put my kids through college. Someday I'll retire and play, have fun with my grandchildren, even my great-grandchildren, maybe even travel a bit. I just don't understand. Why not the promised land? It's so peaceful in the promised land. And the water is so clean and tasty. And the air is so fresh. And the trees and the hills are so green. And the berries are so ripe. And the flowers so colorful and fragrant. And the peaches so fuzzy. And the people are all smiling in the land of milk and honey. Milk and honey, baby, milk and honey. I just can't understand. Why not the promised land? Well, you may never see it, but you're sure going to think about it, sure going to think about it, sure going to think about it. You may never see it, but you're sure going to think about it. Utopia, where everything's perfect, even for gays, and everything's riding on perfect days, where everyone gets just what they need, because everyone has finally been freed. You may never see it, but you're sure going to think about it, sure going to think about it, sure going to think about it. You may never see it, but you're sure going to think about it. Utopia, where honest government doesn't sound silly and politicians don't lie willy-nilly, where the people all get fed and the water's not full of lead, where justice flows right before your nose, and this is kind of personal, and you don't get neuropathy in your toes, where no one suffers from dis-ease, and the hardest lives are full of ease. You may want to see it because it's still worth fighting for, still worth fighting for, still worth fighting for. You may want to see it because it's still worth fighting for. Utopia. Now I'm going to close with a poem that I just found by Rabbi Erwin Keller. Today I'm taking sides. I'm taking the side of peace. Peace, which I will not abandon, even when its voice is drowned out by hurt and hatred, bitterness of loss, cries of right and wrong. I'm taking the side of peace, whose name has barely been spoken in this winnerless war. I will hold peace in my arms and share my body's breath, lest peace be added to the body count. I will call for de-escalation, even when I want nothing more than to get even. I will do it in the service of peace. I will make a clearing in the overgrown thicket of cause and effect so peace can breathe for a minute and reach for the sky. I will do what I must to save the life of peace. I will breathe through tears. I will swallow pride. I will bite my tongue. I will offer love without testing for deservingness. So don't ask me to wave a flag today unless it's the flag of peace. Thank you.
This song, I think, was written by a father thinking about his children when they were afraid. And it's based on an old song that you probably have heard. Deep blue sea, baby, deep blue sea. Deep blue sea, baby, deep blue sea. Deep blue sea, baby, deep blue sea. Now there's peace in all the land and o'er the deep blue sea. Yesterday were clouds hung so low. Yesterday were clouds hung so low. Yesterday were clouds hung so low. Now there's peace in all the land o'er the deep blue sea. Sleep, my child, you are safe and sound. Sleep, my child, you are safe and sound. Sleep, my child, you are safe and sound. Now there's peace in all the land o'er the deep blue sea. Love of life finally turned the tide. Love of life finally turned the tide. Love of life finally turned the tide. Now there's peace in all the land and o'er the deep blue sea.
Now we have some more riches to hear. Ron L. Dowell is the author of Watts Uprise, a poetry collection released by World Stage Press in July 2022. Watts Uprise is a very public love letter to the city of Watts, Los Angeles. The collection renders homage to its most notable artistic landmark, the Watts Towers, and its creator, Sabato Rodia. The towers epitomize the beauty, strength, and resiliency of the city and its inhabitants, and we welcome Ron L. Dowell.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Last time I saw some of you was on Zoom about a year ago. And this feels a lot better than Zoom. And just to say right off the top, thank you for the recall. I'm glad to be here in person with you. The theme is peace. My question to you is, can there be peace without love? This is from my collection. It's called In Loving Memory of Love, 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 an obituary after Victoria Chang, Obits, and Neil Burton, MD. Love, love, love is a deceased full name. First, middle, and last. The same, easily remembered. And love preferred the pronouns they and them. Love was old as humans were, but not as old as Earth, the moon, or the sun. Maybe old as cockroaches or pterodactyls. We can't be sure how old love was. Love lived in a city called Compton, or anywhere in the blank, your choice. Love died inside in 2016 from loneliness, despair, neglect, and a rope on a Wednesday mid-work week, somewhere down south, maybe South Carolina, Mississippi, or Newport Beach, at the end of a rope necklace. Love died, and no one noticed love's illness since 1968. Not love's mother, father, sister, or brother. Love once had many friends, but they allowed their relationship with love to wither like a dangling sycamore leaf, brown and dry. Love never married and had no children, but love was well educated and taught school. Love was patient. Love was also kind. Love taught that early people were completely round, each with 4 arms and 4 legs and 2 identical faces on opposite sides of a head with 4 ears that all matched. They walked both forward and backward and turned cartwheels on their 8 limbs to run moving in circles until the Beatles sang, "All you need is love." And love is all you need. At which point Zeus, the godfather, cut them into 2 like a sorb apple, half for pickling. Male and female parts descended from the moon. Apollo, the light god, turned their heads to make them face their wound and pulled their skin to cover the scars tied at the navel like a purse. Love did not envy nor boast, and love hated pride, never dishonored others, and kept no record of wrongs. Love told their followers to love one another as love loved them. Love commanded their followers to be not angered easily. Love was love's hobby and love's charity. But love's commandments pissed off some. They challenged love's teaching, thinking they need not love anymore, that love was old fashioned in the new technology, and they didn't need love because hate whispered into ears and entered into minds and leaped from shouting mouths. They turned on love, and they sought the rope with which to hang love, stretching love's neck until they shouted, "I can't breathe." And murderers rejoiced, satisfied in witness of their death. But love never died. Love waits like a soldier for a new commandment. Thank you. This kind of continues the theme about love. It's dedicated to an organization I was associated with called the Sims Library of Poetry. It's called The Wide Stance and Fist on Hips at the Sims Library of Poetry. Thank God each morning who allows you to awaken, wash your face, and floss your teeth. Smile at your mirrored reflection and speak to yourself. You look beautiful. You'll have a great day no matter what stands before you, and you'll dress, write a poet's line, and hug yourself before breakfast. If love's tinkle has a meaning or an electric jolt, that meaning is you. If indeed love's embrace has a feeling, a racing pulse, a fluttering stomach, weak knees or legs, that feeling is you. If love has a goal, the not so accidental touch is you. Resolve that despite distractions, roadblocks, and obstructions littering your pathway, like Interstate 10 freeway boundaries, interrogate the source when love is not mutual. Expect a return when you share love, yet know that not all love themselves, and a prickly thorn may find it's hard to love you. You need not change a sow's tail into a silk purse. There are times to turn and walk away. When midnight retires eyes, you'll still love you, the world, and all that's in it. Try to greet each you meet with a smile at nothings, like an angler casts encouragement, a compliment. Let gifts of time communicate the love inside. In the best of times, love you. Hook your hand on the other person's belt. Battle for secrets kept hidden Struggle like our ancestors, we need to be free. Caress, fornicate, and bask in your delight. Stay afloat, but don't drown in failure. And don't drown in failure. Keep this life preserver and understand that one is on the flip side of the other. Love is like a fig, soft, moist, sweet inside, a lace that secures the shoe and protects the feet. Let go of anger and envy. The unshielded heart knows what love enjoys. Love of self enables you to share the love. Do so shamelessly. Thank you.
Next, we have Kenan Rains. Kenan has enjoyed doing numerous independent films and background work since arriving in LA in 1989. She played the lead role in an indie called Just Talk. Kenan has played a wide range of roles on a variety of LA stages, including Blanche Dubois in Streetcar, one of the three witches in Macbeth, and Olive in the female version of The Odd Couple. Kenan has traveled both nationally and internationally, performing her own original poetry in nightclubs, galleries, theaters, and festivals. Kenan recently retired from over 20 years as a substitute teacher and a good friend. She's a good friend of the church in Ocean Park. Welcome back, Kenan Rains.
The war that took more American lives than any other, and that is the Civil War. This first piece is very short. My little sister took a photograph of the removal of Jeb Stuart from a street that was called Monument Avenue. This one is not actually on Monument Avenue, it was nearby. I grew up in the South in a very small town, 4,000 people. It's still 4,000 people. Many of them still think the same way as when I was born, unfortunately. I remember it 4 years old when I moved there, several years, maybe until even 7, seeing white-only signs. My school, they integrated them by putting one Black child from one of the 3 first grade classes in first grade into one of the 3 first grade white classes. There was 2 schools, 3 classes per grade level, and they would take one child from the Black school, put them in one of the white schools, and they called that integration for a number of years. And then they, when I went into the 8th grade, they finally fully integrated because the government got hip and said, look, we know what you're doing, and either you do the letter of the law or we're cutting off all the money. So cutting off all the money always works. Yes. And so after Charlottesville and people went nuts about their statues, you know, I'm sorry to say in the South, we were raised to worship the Confederate people and, you know, the Daughters of the South, whatever organization they were, you know, made sure all the books reinforced that. After 3rd grade, I thought I was in love with Jeb Stuart, that I had missed my moment. And then my little sister sent me this picture of him being hoisted up on a big crane, and it's all covered in graffiti and Black Lives Matter and stuff. And, you know, a lot of people were just losing their minds about it. And I had written a couple of long essays on Facebook saying what I thought about it. And it created quite a storm. And I got unfriended by a lot of hometown people. So I thought, I'm going to write this poem that's going to help heal the wound and it's going to make it better. And then I got people, private messages, I hate that poem. I hate it. You should stop putting your opinions on Facebook. So I take great pride in reading it to you today. It's much shorter than my introduction. It's called Ride Away. R-I-D-E, in case my accent is bad. It's not right away, it's R-I-D-E, ride away. Ride away from old battles. Ride away from the fray. Fly away, all warriors. Keep the hounds at bay. Switch your perspective. Stand in different shoes. Release all expectations. Broaden your views. Nothing is lasting. Everything must go. We can't have yesterday. Forget what you know. Open a place in your heart. Move forward in love. Make a new start. And this poem is one I wrote after 9/11 It took me a year to revise it, and over the years, I might have changed a few little things here and there, but it stayed pretty much the same. It took me about 9 months. It was a baby, and it's called Flag. Some flags stand tall for love of country. Some fly half-mast for those who died. Some wave for heroes living and those who lost but tried. Some shake their flags like pom-poms, my country right or wrong. Others fly flags in hopes to show they simply belong. Some bluster like vandalous victors after a sports championship game. Others limply undulate and say, we'll never be the same. Some snap to show support for the dropping of mass bombs. Others fly flags and humbly pray to feed the starving throngs. Some see the flag as a bloody rag fouled by dictators we've empowered. As news tongues wag, the bullets zigzag, making third world people cower. Can we wave this flag in spite of all the wrongs been done? Perhaps if we right those wrongs before our day is done. Stolen land and lives and genocide cannot now be undone. But we must strive, keep King's dream alive until at last it's won. And not for us just in one country, but a world of people treated equally. A world safe for children everywhere, and yes, for whales and trees and clean air. I hold fast my flag for freedom and the right to dissent. And for my right to protest, I will not repent. I trudge with my flag for truth and to chase away the lies of the corporate police state that aims to cut us down to size. I cherish my flag because of church and state separation. I love my flag because we ended legal segregation. I rouse my flag for an end to environmental degradation. I whip and flap my flag because there is still a chance to make our country free if we wake up from this trance of mindless acceptance of all we are told and dare to act as founding fathers, though outpowered, bold. World Bank, International Money Fund, we're putting you on notice. The march has begun. Sic semper tyrannis, thus ever to tyrants. Do not tread on me. Don't merely say America's changed as they revoke civil liberties. The give me liberty or give me death, shouted Patrick Henry. I'd rather death by terrorist than death to the land of the free. They want us to be quiet now about their secret deals and schemes, but we must march and shout out loud or forever lose our dreams. And when we march, they perhaps may call us terrorists, but protecting freedom is something which never comes without risks. My flag swirls for suffragettes, American female liberation, while elsewhere flags crackle and burn in flames of condemnation. My flag becomes a veil, a shroud, as I pray for Afghani and Iranian women, and for no one's safety, but for land and oil. That's what wars are about winning. My flag sings for Cindy Sheehan, for gays and those who use each breath to remind us daily that silence equals death. The flag's been sewn on the jeans of hippies and flower children who marched in the 60s. It's been protected by men like Nader and every Greenpeace instigator. I hail my flag for those who protest nuclear power and waste. I grasp it proudly for Granny D, who marched across the United States. She was marching for campaign finance reform to raise democracy up, reborn. My flag twirls for Jerry Brown, for windmills and moonbeams. It fuels the flames of anarchists protesting WTO schemes. I pump my flag for those who have the guts to take a stand and back down Big Brother before he sweeps freedom from all land. I hoist my flag for Union folk with youth marching in Seattle. If Woody Guthrie were alive today, he would sing us through this battle. This land is your land, not corporate domain. This land is my land. Will it remain your land, my land? If you look, you'll find each generation must take the time to preserve justice, protect freedom for all, for it's never guaranteed. We must answer the call. I pray one day borders all will be free, with all earth rejoicing in equality for all of the earth and all of earth's creatures, a new respect stretching far and wide. At last, the global village affirming together peace, harmony, let nature abide.
Wow. Hey, let's give all the poets, okay? Yeah. What a rich morning. Woo! Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, but there is one thing that is a part of our ritual on Sunday mornings, and that is community sharing. Obviously, we have had a lot of sharing that just happened. I think, first of all, let's take a deep breath. And just like so much has come in. So much has come in. And I am just like basking in it. And I don't know if there's anybody who wants to make a statement or something, but this is a time when we normally do that.
I also want to thank Jerry Rubin for the invitation, because I've always been resistant to attending church services. My dad was an atheist. I was born, and so we never belonged to a synagogue or a church. And so this has been a really wonderful, welcoming experience this morning. I'm so glad that I came today.
I'm so glad I'm here. I'm so grateful to be part of the church in Ocean Park, in so many ways. And I love you all, and I'm so glad to be part of a group of people who care so much about peace and love and justice. You know, in the middle of a genocide, an unspeakable genocide that's going on, that we dream of a better world. And I thank Louise for saying, you know, from the hills I gather courage. And so I want to have the courage to say that I do not think that peace is possible as long as the weapons are in the hands of a ruling class of capitalists. I cannot, of course we want peace. And we can pray for peace, we can love for peace, but somebody, probably the sailors and soldiers who are our brothers and children and nieces and nephews, who are the most oppressed with who the rulers give the guns to, sooner or later, they've got to take the guns away from the killers, the capitalists, the bloodsuckers who make their millions off of the deaths of our brothers and sisters. And so I just want to say no flag, but the red flag.
I am in awe primarily of the demonstration here. To my brother Ron and also to my brother Lee, they speak of the oral tradition. In African terms, it's called the griot. They bring the culture. And it's, for us, it's a very, very important function because they catalog our experiences. Deep within, that reverberates throughout the community, and then, you know, amongst all society. I'm almost certain, I know Islam is built on that whole thing, and I have a strong suspicion that Judaism is also built highly on the oral tradition, which is brought in here before us. So I give praise and thanks to those that have more or less delivered this message.
I didn't mention that if you hear for the first time or the 1,000th time, you can speak. You don't have to have been here forever.
Hi, everyone. This is very powerful. I just want to say how grateful I am to be here. I'm going to share a message that's a little bit off that topic, but I just wanted to talk and introduce you, people who don't know, to my son, Dashel, Dash, as we call him. So he was a regular attendee of the church before the pandemic. He doesn't really like Zoom, so we weren't really participating too much during the pandemic. And as soon as the church opened up, I started bringing him here. And the thing is I just assumed that he liked it here. He types to communicate. He's given me permission to say all this, although he hates it when I talk about him. So I'm sorry, Dash, in advance. If I say something wrong, you'll tell me later. He types right now. He has a therapist who's his typing communication partner. So in our last session, actually 2 weeks ago, I asked him just to confirm, Dash, do you like going to the church? You want to keep going to the church? And he wrote, I do love the church and the accepting, inclusive people in it. And yes, for wanting to keep going. So then I asked him, is there anything that I could say to the congregation about you that you want them to know? And he said, I am very smart and creative and aware of respect and cool, and this church and you are all that. Thanks for accepting me and my family, and love being here. Grateful for you and this.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Didn't know Francine. She was a whack, and it was back in the 40s, maybe during the war. We didn't talk a lot about it, but we did talk about well, what it was like to be a woman in the Army back then. I'm a veteran. Fred was in Vietnam. I know other people in Vietnam whose life was in danger, and I lift them up. I wrote a few things down because I wanted to share my personal story. Those of you who know me know it's almost always personal. The one thing I know is what goes on inside, and the rest is speculation. Can you hear me okay? Anyway, this is a narrative, memoir, short, hopefully. I remember 17 years old. Let me say that West Virginia is where I'm from, and a disproportionate number of young men in West Virginia have volunteered for the military. It's mostly about, over the years, it's mostly about opportunity for employment and a chance to get out of a rut, which West Virginia can be a very deep rut, let me tell you. Anyway, I remember 17 years old, graduated, been kissed, let go of almost, I had a mother. To the city to get a factory job, too young, they said. Come back later, they said. I talked to a Marine recruiter in Cincinnati. I already knew how to shoot, Appalachia, hunting, gathering, explain this. I put food on the table, squirrels, rabbits, ducks, quail, geese, not geese, grouse. I got a shotgun at 13. And the recruiter said, sign here, 3 years, the Marine Corps will take care of you, make you a man, fix your teeth. California boot camp, adventure. I was ready. This is 1955. Adventure, I was ready, motivated. I was a natural. I liked the uniform. I was one of the few, the proud. At 21 years old, I was out, an ex-Marine. I'd seen the world, well, the Far East. Peace was upon us, nobody to shoot, thank God. Though I could have killed for my country. 86 years old now. No regrets. I've had a peaceful, good life. I hope to live for a while. I had a friend who was in Vietnam, and his picture of himself with his shirt off as an artillery unit, and he had a peace symbol on around his neck that had been created by a Vietnamese local, and there were a lot of them around. I said, Ralph, why did you go to Vietnam if you were a peacenik? He couldn't get away from the draft. Ralph Chavez didn't have college, didn't have a lot of opportunity to plead his case. A lot of people did, mostly white. I admire people who do it for what they think is the right reason. Who was the guy that invented the 6 guns, the peacemaker, he called it? A lot of us felt that making peace had to do with picking up a gun and shooting the right people. I don't believe that anymore. Peace is a lot more than that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to take a few moments in silence now, and then we'll break the silence with a song.
This is my song, O gods of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight shines on clover leaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too, and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my prayer, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for their lands and for mine. Oh, hear my prayer, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for their lands and for mine.
So I think a lot of you have heard me say this before, but this song comes from the experience of Black Civil War soldiers. They'd fought for their own freedom, and what they were singing about was peace. Down by the riverside, I'm gonna lay my burden down. Down by the riverside, gonna lay my burden down. Down by the riverside, I'm gonna lay my burden down and study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna
gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Oh, down by the riverside, I'm gonna walk in the ways of peace. Come on now, down by the riverside, I'm gonna walk in the ways of peace. Down by the riverside, I'm gonna walk in the ways of peace. I ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more.
Carry on.